I came to return my ex's things. Her roommate opened the door and said, "She's gone. You can stay." I thought returning my ex's belongings would be the easiest part of moving on. I had packed everything into one old cardboard box: her favorite hoodie, a photo album, a coffee mug she accidentally cracked, and a tiny cactus she once said would outlive our relationship. I walked up to her apartment expecting one last awkward conversation. Instead, her roommate opened the door, looked at me with sad eyes, and quietly said, "She's gone. But you can stay." Those 5 words changed my life forever. My name is Ethan, and until that evening, I believed some doors were only meant to close. Claire and I had broken up 2 months earlier. It wasn't because we stopped loving each other. We simply wanted different lives. She dreamed of traveling the world, changing cities every year, chasing every opportunity she could find. I wanted something simpler: a stable job, a quiet house, weekend barbecues with neighbors. Neither of us was wrong. We just weren't walking toward the same future anymore. Still, that didn't make saying goodbye any easier. For weeks, her belongings sat in a box beside my front door. Every morning I'd tell myself, "Today's the day." Every evening I'd lose the courage. Finally, on a rainy Thursday, I forced myself into my car and drove to her apartment. I wasn't expecting closure. I just wanted the memories out of my apartment. When I knocked, I heard footsteps. I took a deep breath. The door opened. It wasn't Claire. It was Emma, her roommate. She looked surprised to see me standing there holding the box. Then her expression softened. "You came? I just wanted to return these." She looked down at the box before looking back into my eyes. Then she quietly said the words I still remember perfectly. "She's gone, but you can stay." I frowned. "What do you mean she's gone?" Emma hesitated before opening the door wider. "Come inside." The apartment hadn't changed much. The yellow couch was still there. The bookshelf Claire insisted on organizing by color. The vanilla candle burning near the kitchen. It felt strange, like walking into yesterday. Emma handed me a mug of coffee. "Claire moved to Seattle 3 weeks ago." I stared at her. "She never told me." Emma sighed. "I don't think she knew how." I laughed quietly. Not because it was funny. Sometimes pain makes you laugh when nothing else comes out. "So, I drove all this way for nothing." She looked at the box. "Not exactly." I followed her eyes. The tiny cactus was sticking out from the top. She smiled. "It survived. Barely." Claire always joked that the cactus would live longer than our relationship. Turns out she was right. Emma laughed softly. "You always did keep impossible things alive." I smiled without thinking. She noticed. "There it is." "What?" "Your smile. I haven't seen it in a long time." That surprised me. "You noticed? I lived with you two for almost 2 years." She shrugged. "It's hard not to notice." We talked for almost an hour. Not about Claire. About life, work, movies, embarrassing childhood stories. Somehow, talking to Emma felt easy. There was no pressure, no pretending, no trying to impress anyone. Just conversation. When I finally stood to leave, thunder shook the windows. Rain poured so hard I could barely see my car outside. Emma looked toward the storm. "I'll be okay." She shook her head. "The roads flood around here." I looked outside again. She was right. Then she said something unexpected. "You can stay in the guest room." I hesitated. It felt strange, staying overnight in my ex-girlfriend's apartment. Almost wrong. Emma seemed to read my mind. "Claire's gone." She smiled gently. "You're just a friend who got caught in a storm." I laughed. APN. So. I looked outside one last time. The rain wasn't stopping anytime soon. "Okay. Just one night." She smiled. One night. That evening we cooked dinner together. Actually, she cooked. I mostly ruined vegetables. You've forgotten how to chop onions. I've been surviving on frozen pizza. I can tell. That obvious? You almost cut the carrot with the wrong side of the knife. I was experimenting. She laughed. The apartment suddenly didn't feel empty anymore. After dinner we watched an old comedy movie. Neither of us paid much attention to it. We spent most of the time making fun of the terrible acting. Around midnight, I couldn't sleep. I walked into the kitchen for water. Emma was sitting by the window, watching the rain. Can't sleep either? She asked. I shook my head. Too many thoughts. She nodded. I know that feeling. For several minutes, we simply listened to the rain. Then she spoke. Can I admit something? Sure. I missed having you around. I looked at her. You did? She smiled sadly. You brought life into this apartment. You talked to the plants. They needed encouragement. They're plants. They looked happier. I laughed. So did we. That sentence stayed with me. So did we. The next morning the storm had disappeared. Sunlight filled the apartment. I picked up the box. Before leaving, I took out the little cactus. I think this belongs here. Emma carefully accepted it. I'll take good care of it. I know you will. As I reached my car, she called my name. Ethan. I turned around. You don't have to disappear too. I smiled. I won't. Over the next few weeks we started texting. Nothing serious. Pictures of burned dinners, funny videos, complaints about work. One afternoon she sent me a photo of the cactus. It had grown a tiny flower. Look who's happy. Without thinking, I replied, maybe we're both growing. A few seconds later, 3 little dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, her message arrived. I was hoping you'd say that. I stared at my phone. For the first time since my breakup, I realized something. Maybe I hadn't come to that apartment to return my past. Maybe life had quietly opened a brand new door, and I had almost walked away from it.